Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Pat Dating. Today, we're going to be going over one of my clients' cold approaches, and we're going to be breaking it down from start to finish, going over some of the things he did really well, and then some of the things that he can improve on. So, by the end of this video, you should be able to take some of the things that we talk about in this video and apply it to your own cold approach journey so that you can start dating the women that you really want and building your dream dating life. So, let's get right into it.
Sorry, excuse me. Do you speak English?
No.
No. Pero español. Un momento, un momento. ¿Cómo eres mexicano, no?
Okay, so first thing I noticed is the stop, right? And this is something that I work with clients on, and it's really important to get down because what a lot of guys do, and what, props to Ryan for going up and doing the approach to begin with. What he did though is he came at her from the side, so it kind of alarmed her a bit. And this is something we don't want to be doing, guys. If you've ever been panhandled or someone's come up to try to sell you something, that's kind of how they come at you, right? They kind of pop out of nowhere, and you're just like, whoa, like Jesus, buddy. Like, give me some space. And so we don't want to be giving that off, especially when we're going to a girl that we want to talk to. So for Ryan, what I would have done in this situation is done a hard front stop. So what a front stop is, it's where you walk around her probably about 10 feet or so. So it actually looks like you're just kind of walking by her. And then you loop around. And so you end up walking into her as if you were just kind of two strangers walking into each other randomly in the street. So it creates much more of a natural vibe, and it's going to not freak her out as much. And so, as you see here, Ryan, he had to say like, one moment, one moment. So he had to try to stop her. And that's the other issue from coming at her from the side, is that she has the freedom to keep going. Versus when you do a front stop, or as one of our other clients called it, the football lineman stop, then she's, halted, and then she's more likely to stay with you for that opener to where you guys can begin talking.
Mexicano, ¿no?
Sí.
Sí, se nota como tienes como los ojos, como tienes el estilo mexicano.
Okay, so next thing he did really well here is he made an assumption right away. You are Mexican. The thing he did incorrectly, though, is he made it kind of seem like a question. So if you go back to my video on how to never run out of things to say with women, which will be linked right here, you'll I talk about the importance of vocal tonality and how when you're asking questions, you want the questions to be going from a neutral tone of voice downwards or even. You don't want it to be going from low to high. So, for example, like how he said it, you are Mexican, there's a bit of an energy of trying to get reassurance. So, versus when you say, you are Mexican, you hear how that's very direct, very straightforward, especially in cold approach. We want to be as direct as possible. We want to be leaning to that masculine side of us, which as men, we're logical and we're direct. We don't want to accidentally slip into our feminine and be qualifying ourselves to her. And that's unfortunately what questions can do if done too frequently or if done in that tonality of low to high. And then also with the assumption, it's an assumption. So you want to be doing it in that direct tone. So for you guys, for example, you're watching this video, right? I'm assuming you're watching this video versus if I were to be like, hey, you guys watching this video? Like you see how it's just not as confident, and I sound a bit unsure of myself. And so that's again the vibe we don't want to be giving off.
Sí.
Sí, se nota como tienes como los ojos, como tienes el estilo mexicano.
Gracias.
So he did his assumption, and now he's giving context of why he made that assumption to begin with, because of your eyes. And we were working on this before, and I'm guessing he just kind of forgot since it's since it's something new we've been working on. What you want to do in this situation is add a little more context. So what I always say, and if you watch any of my other cold approach videos, I pretty much run the same thing every time. I say, okay, you're eres mexicana. I notice you. I notice your hair, your eyes, y tú muy pequeña.
No, you're Mexican. I notice you. Tu muy fit vibra. Yeah. Y tu muy pequeña. So,
So I give a little more context, which gives a reason why I'm approaching her, and then two, it shows that I'm observant. And then of course, when I say because you're very small, they get a good laugh out of it because Mexicans are notoriously small. So what's great is that you can use this anywhere in the world, this exact assumption. So for example, if we're in America, you're American. You got a New York vibe. You have the eyes and you have the hair, and you're a bit tall because American girls are typically taller than maybe a short little Mexican girl. Or if you're in Poland, you can say you're Polish. I can tell you have the eyes and you're blonde. And then because most Polish girls are going to be blonde, or if they're from Ukraine or anything. So it's going to break down the barriers a bit and kind of show that you're in it to have a fun and playful experience, right? Which is going to lessen her barriers because, again, you're a complete stranger going to talk to her. And then it's going to add that fun element where she can relax into it a bit. And then you guys can start vibing a bit more. Did here, which is you have the Mexican style, which is something I think is a great assumption as well. Like, yeah, you have the, I mean, for other areas of the world, like you have the New York style. Oh, you got a Chicago vibe, right? You can say pretty much anything. You can fill in the blanks on that one. What he did though is he didn't finish the last assumption and the reason why. He just said the eyes and then he paused. So I'm guessing he just forgot the rest of the lines. And then he went into, okay, you have the Mexican style. So he, why she was probably responded the way she did.
Tienes el estilo mexicana.
Gracias.
O es un cumplido, no sé.
And he had to kind of clarify that, no, this is a compliment. It came across a bit awkward because he didn't finish the other one. So really understanding, guys, the more you practice this, you might not get this right away, which is totally fine. It's a skill. The more you practice it and the more comfortable you get in knowing what to say and when to say it, the more smooth it will come off and the more she'll be comfortable around you as well, because you come across as somebody who just kind of gets social dynamics. And of course, you might in other areas of your life, like business, or maybe even with dating at clubs or from dating apps when you're on a date. But cold approach is definitely a different skill. And so it takes a little time for the brain to realize that, okay, this random person in the street is no different from some girl that's in the club or in the office or wherever I feel comfortable in social situations. So know that over time you will get more fluid and smooth with your delivery as you're talking to women in public. For now, though, for the beginning, be okay that if it's a little bit rocky as you're learning the new skill. If you are struggling with your cold approach, I've developed a plug and play system that you can implement directly into your cold approach to start dating the women that you actually want. Fill out an application below in the description for a chance to work with me personally. I'm excited to help you start dating your dream women and building your dream dating life.
O es un cumplido, no sé.
Bastante.
Sí, es que mucha gente me dice como, me veo como mucho de mi país.
Soy opaca. ¿De
Pero,
dónde
¿sabes? Sí, pero puedes adivinar.
eres? ¿Verdad?
Puedes adivinar de dónde soy.
No sé.
Es como, pues soy pelirrojo, entonces yo creo que es obvio, ¿no?
No. ¿De dónde?
Ok, es como en Europa.
So again, the questions were, like we talked about before, the inflection was going from low to high. So it came off a bit uncertain, not as confident as he probably would have liked. And so because of that, she kind of tuned out a bit. She kind of went like, she kind of gave up. Like the game wasn't fun anymore. It was more like the energy was more her trying to give Ryan approval. And again, we want to stay away from that dynamic. These are things that he can work on in his cold approaches going further, and that will help him a lot. Because let's just say he asked him more like, okay, guess where I'm from? You see how that was like more of a command instead of a question? And then from there, it becomes a little bit more playful, all because he's more in a masculine frame, and girls want to obviously be in that fall into that masculine frame where they can be the most feminine. But in this case, since he lost a little bit of that edge, he was nervous and kind of still figuring out what to say in cold approach, she didn't feel completely open with him. And that's why her answers were a bit dry and she didn't seem enthusiastic.
Soy como de África, sí. Un país, Nigeria, no sé si lo conoces.
Sí.
No, I'm saying that.
No lo conozco, pero sé el nombre.
Soy de Inglaterra,
Perfecto.
Sí, sí.
Like this is funny. Like he's trying to make a joke that he's from somewhere he's obviously not. Unfortunately, though, because the delivery from the beginning wasn't as strong as it could have been, it didn't quite land, right? The joke didn't quite land. And she was a bit confused and it doesn't seem super engaged. And so that when he said the joke, she didn't really get it. and as well as his energy, had he been in more fun, playful energy, she would have probably at least fallen into that frame more. And even if she didn't understand it because we are in Mexico, she would have still found it funny and likely laughed along. I've had many times where girls have laughed with what I said, even though they can't really understand, but they're laughing because I'm laughing and I'm having a good time. And so they just kind of feed off that energy, even if they can't quite understand what I'm saying. The other thing too is he focused a little too long on himself. One thing you'll notice, guys, is that when you start having really good approaches, is that eventually, and sometimes very quickly, especially if you captivate her in the beginning, in that first 20, 30 seconds, she'll start asking you questions pretty quickly. And that's when you can kind of go into yourself. But in this scenario, Ryan He got a bit nervous, and so he made the conversation about himself instead of waiting for her to naturally ask, okay, where are you from? Because they will eventually. And that's why this kind of scenario seems a bit forced. And so
¿Cómo te llamas?
Ana,
Ana, mucho gusto. ¿Qué haces hoy?
tengo una cita, pero me van a fotografiar, entonces necesito ir a cambiarme y todo.
Ah, una cita de fotografía.
okay, so great job for Ryan pivoting from talking about himself and where he's from to bringing it back towards her. So, he asked, what are you doing today? And then as you saw, her energy lit up a bit because, she got to talk about herself a bit. When we say women like talking about number one in the world is themselves. So if we can expedite that, the better. Now, what he could have done in this situation is instead of ask, what are you doing today? He could have made an assumption. So I can tell you're out here having an adventure today. Or um, I can tell you're up to no good, right? You just have that. You have something about you that is a little suspicious, right? So he could have made it more an assumption and made it more playful. When she said here that I'm very hot, that would have been a great opportunity for some flirtation. Like, oh, I could tell that's why I came up and wanted to talk to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so really playing into that, like, yeah, you are my type. I'm not gonna lie, right? So something that adds that more, like, really signifies I'm a man, you're a woman, and I find you attractive.
Sí,
Estaba aquí como tomando fotos.
sí,
¿Estás bien?
sí, tengo mucho calor, gracias.
No, estaba en el parque tomando fotos con mi amigo también. Está allá,
Ok,
no.
ok.
Sí, sí, ¿qué tal? Como, me pareces como, eres artística porque tienes como,
Me hacen body paint.
¿ah?
Me hacen body paint.
Body paint.
Sí,
Ah,
sí.
qué bien.
This is like a common thing for that people do in conversation is they repeat what the person said. I think it's good for active listening skills, so it definitely it serves its purpose. I think here though, when you're trying to be, when you want to be flirtatious and you want to show your confidence, um, and that it's not a great thing to do. It doesn't really add much to the conversation. So I think so. As you can hear, Ryan did that here. She said she was photographing, and I think maybe because he didn't have anything like right on the mind to say, the default was to go to like just repeating what she says. And so ideally, we don't want to do that. Um, we want to be coming up with a new assumption and keeping the flow going as much as we can.
Me pareces como, eres artística porque tienes como,
Me hacen body paint.
¿ah?
Me hacen body paint.
So that was a really good one. He said, okay, you seem to like you have an artistic vibe, like you're a bit artistic. That's a really good assumption to make. And it works in context because she was just saying how she liked to paint. And then she's like, she brought up, no, it's body paint. And that's like another great opportunity to inject some flirtation, some sexuality. Like, man, I would love to see you in body paint. You're not wearing body paint right now, are you? Like, kind of playing into the fact that like she would be naked. The more comfortable, and this was really hard for me, guys, when I was learning cold approaches to be sexual in my cold approaches. It felt wrong. It felt like I didn't know her enough, so it felt weird, and I was worried I was going to be creepy. But once I started leaning into that more, it made a big difference because it showed like, yo, like this guy just met me and he's already being sexual. Like, sweet. Like this is like this guy obviously has experience and he's confident and he's not afraid to bring up sex with a complete stranger, which is kind of exciting. So definitely be willing, guys, to step into that and practice being sexual when you can.
Sí,
Pues me pareces bonito, me gustaría salir contigo. Como compartimos el Insta y hablamos.
claro.
Sí, pongo mi Insta en tu...
And so now what we can see here is he's pivoted out of the main cold approach and now he's going into the close. So what he said was, well, it seems to me you are beautiful, which I would like to take you out. Awesome job, Ryan, for being direct and saying, I want to take you out. What I see a lot of guys do is they'll be a little nervous when asking her out. So the way they'll kind of say it is like, hey, do you want to go out sometime? So they'll be asking her permission essentially to go on a date. Hey, can I get your number? Right. And this, I mean, it does work. Like some girls will give you their number, but for me, I want to be as strong and as optimized as possible. So I like to be which means for me, I like to be as direct as possible. And I want to be the one offering the value. Like I want to take you out. I want to give you an experience. Not, can I please can you grant me permission to take you on a date? Like I would love that so much. Like that's kind of when you ask for their number, when you ask to go out with them, that's kind of the energy that it gives off. So we want to stay away from that, of course.
Es que no tengo número. Como se me perdió mi teléfono, apenas
Ah,
Pero no te preocupes, yo llegando a mi casa lo busco.
Un screenshot, ¿no?
Sí,
No tienes datos, ¿no?
número. No tengo
Ah,
número.
no tienes
No,
SIM.
es que perdí mi teléfono ayer. Antier, de
¿Sí?
fiesta. Sí.
Pues no, lo pongo el tuyo en...
Okay, so I couldn't quite understand what was going on here. It sounds like she agreed to give the Instagram, which is great. And then she said I lost my phone, so I don't have a number. So I'm not sure if Ryan went for the WhatsApp on that one, or sounds like maybe she didn't have data.
¿Cómo lo perdiste? Sí, pero eso es como alguien muy organizada. ¿Cómo perdiste tu...
So there we go. There's another good assumption. How'd you lose it? Like you seem like someone who's very organized. So that was a very good assumption right there.
¿Cómo lo perdiste?
Dejé mi bolsa en el Uber.
¿Y contactaste el Uber
Me
o...?
dijo que no había dejado nada, pero
Entonces él lo tomó.
probablemente sí. Ay, perdón.
Wow. Eso es súper mal, ¿no? He hecho. Pero él me dijo, ah, sí, está bien, yo lo tengo. Pero este conductor, pues Ana, un gusto.
Mucho gusto.
Que disfrutes tu clase.
Igual.
Que tengas buen día.
Bye.
Chao, chao. Ojalá.
All right. So, guys, give a round of applause for Ryan for willing to be on camera there and letting us break that down. And, he's making a lot of progress. So, I do always want to clarify that. And with guys we work with, like, it's important to definitely focus on the things you're doing well and double down on those because he did a lot of things well in this situation. I think overall, as a whole, I would rate this probably like a 6 out of 10. I think he did really well with the assumptions. He went for the close, which is good. The only thing was there wasn't a flirtatious vibe, and so the conversation itself was a bit boring. And what did they say? The only thing you can't do is bore a woman, and that's definitely true, especially when we're trying to track them. When we only have 5 to 10 minutes to actually talk to them, and we're first meeting them. That's really why cold approach is such a great skill, and it can really take you a long way with women. But it can also disqualify you very quickly from ever being like on the woman's radar if the approach itself isn't strong. I could tell as well Ryan was kind of running out of things to say since he's new to learning assumptions and staying in set longer. So I think the close was a bit rushed, and ideally we want to make sure there's a really good amount of comfort and connection established and that the vibe's high and you guys are laughing a bit, maybe some touching, some flirtation. That's another thing Ryan could have done here as well is add some touching, like touched her arm when he made a flirtatious joke about the body paint or about her being very hot. Like sometimes I like to just brush their arm. And what I'm noticing too here is it was a bit formal, like have a good day, pleasure to meet you. We kind of want to stay away from that. Like so ending on a joke would be a better way to transition out so that the last thing she remembers is you making a flirtatious or even sexual comments. So all you could say is like, all right, I gotta go, but think about me later when you're putting on that body paint. So something that adds to that sexuality. And so guys, again, if you are struggling with your cold approach and finding difficulties creating that man to woman vibe, that strong masculine feminine dynamic, and then as well getting the growth that you actually want to date through cold approach, if that's something that you're struggling with, we help guys with that specifically online and in person. We have a plug and play system that you can implement directly into your cold approach. I've helped dozens of guys take their cold approach from average to, maybe getting the I have the girlfriend excuse, from boring, platonic to really a strong sexual connection within the cold approach to where you guys are laughing. She's feeling you, you're feeling her, and then ultimately you can get the date. So fill out an application below in the description for a chance to work with me personally. I'm excited to help you start dating your dream women and building your dream dating life. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.